Hey guys, it's Thursday and you've got me, Rachel, as always, and Cal is here this week as well. This week we've been looking at another part of the book which I linked you to last week, which is called, bear with me, the feelings. Here we go. The Food and Feelings Workbook by Karen Koenig. So I'm going to direct you to that whilst I go through this video as well. And for me today, I'm basically looking at the fact that it's only food. And of course that is a bit of a obviously very obvious point. But also, you know, basically very simple in the sense that food is only food. And of course, when you have an eating disorder, food is more than food. And something that the book has picked up on is the fact that, you know, we use food, obviously with an eating disorder, food, weight, whatever, as a means of controlling our environment, as a means of controlling ourselves, as a way of suppressing ourselves, as a way of taking away negative feeling, or as a way of dealing with negative feeling, and this kind of mix up. And what I kind of want to put forward today is, what is it about food that either attracts you in terms of binging, or that pushes you away from it when you're restricting, when you're in emotional discomfort. And of course, well, at least for me with my eating disorder, when I was ill, I was constantly in emotional discomfort, which is why I used behaviours, why I used, you know, my eating disorder, self-harm, or overdosing, or whatever that was, as a means of dealing with this horribleness that I felt day in, day out. And that's something which is unique to me, and that may not be how some of you out there feel. You might actually be okay day in, day out, but for me, I was constantly uncomfortable, and I constantly needed ways to just deal with this horribleness. And the other thing I kind of want to put forward is this idea that food has these magical powers, that if we eat it all, we'll feel better. If we don't eat it, we'll feel better. Whether we're taking food in, taking food out, whatever that is, that we see food as this kind of thing, either this big thing or this nothingness. And you've got to remember that, you know, in order to stay alive, we need air to breathe, we need water, and we need food. And they're like the three things that we need to stay alive. So if you're rejecting or taking in and taking out something that's keeping you alive, well, you're using it in a different way other than what is intended. You know, food is there for us to have energy, for us to grow, for us to change, for us to feel okay in ourselves, for us to have, you know, complexion, our hair, or our body, our muscles, all of that. And, you know, and I'm no doctor, but, you know, that's basically what food is. And I think that what I want to take you back to now, into when you're recovering, which is something I did, is that I had to see food as almost like medicine, as something I had to have to live, and something I had to have to be able to do the things that I wanted to do. So rather than just seeing it as this massive thing, like opening the fridge and just being like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I had to break it down, and I had to say, but I can do this. And this is something the book picks up on, that something the book encourages you to do, is sit down with food and just seeing it as a bunch of ingredients, and as something that has fibre in it, or protein in it, or carbs in it, or whatever that is going to keep you going, that's going to give you energy to study, or to work, to walk the dog, to play with the dog. You need to do all of those things to be able to have a mind that, you know, can focus. Because at the end of the day, if you're not feeding yourself, you're not feeding your mind either, your brain is just going to be like woof, like mush. And you're just, you know, to have mental, emotional health, you have to have physical health as well. So I'd encourage you to try and just think about food in a different way, and that's what I'm hoping this video is able to help you do, because, you know, we do have strong feelings around food one way or the other, and I think recognizing this in your relationship between eating or not eating and feeling is something quite important. And I know that it isn't just as simple as addressing food in a different way, but what I'm trying to encourage you to do is just think differently about food, to try to rationalize the fact that food is just food, and it is something we need to stay alive. And, you know, yeah, it's food. And I think for me now, certainly when I first started to eat, I didn't particularly enjoy food. I didn't particularly like food. And, you know, before my eating disorder, I loved my food. And that's something that's never really come back. And yes, I eat and I enjoy things, and I go out for a meal and I'll enjoy my meal, and maybe I have a favourite dish, but I don't have that kind of food. To me is something that I eat 4 times a day, 6 times a day, whatever it is. And I've learned to not associate how I'm feeling with food. And of course that isn't easy, and I'm not expecting you during your early days of recovery to be able to get to that point. But what I do want to do is encourage you to just think in a different way about food. And, you know, food is everywhere, and we are constantly bombarded with images of food, what food can do. You know, the adverts don't help. They make us believe that a certain dish is going to have these magical powers to make us feel better, that we're going to really enjoy it. And I want you to enjoy your food. I think that's really important, but I think it's something that maybe is going to take some time. And certainly, you know, either way, whether you've binged on food or restricted food, it's very difficult to find that middle ground with food again. And I think that one of the reasons I, you know, very much encourage therapy and ongoing therapy, whether you're at the beginning of your eating disorder or, you know, 5 years down the line, kind of, you know, I'm kind of in my 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, sort of, you know, 6th year of recovery. And of course sometimes, you know, maybe I do use food. I just try very hard to sever that connection, really. And I think if you stay in therapy and work in therapy, you will slowly stop using behaviours, stop using food, and hopefully get to a kind of point where I am today, which is, you know, freedom from that, really, freedom from being so overwhelmed and so engulfed with eating, you know, with not eating, with when am I going to eat, how am I going to eat, how am I going to avoid this, and just actually sitting with myself and sort of allowing myself to feel and being aware of those feelings. So yeah, I really hope that I've kind of made sense in this. It was kind of a difficult topic for me, but I'm kind of glad, and I just want you to develop a different relationship towards food and try not to abuse it and use it as a way of emotional comfort. Okay guys, so I'm gonna go and I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.